when I want to look at like what's happening, I small active speaker. Yeah, okay. So people can hear us now?
Yes, very well.
Yeah, let me see. Okay, that's good. Ivy, okay.
Hello, everybody. We will start in 2 minutes.
Huh. Okay.
Hello, guys. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, everyone. Would you like to start our presentation today to provide a very good information about startup visas? Today, we have Reza and Raquel, and together they will provide a very good presentation to explain how to become a PR through the startup visa. I'd like to introduce Raquel. Raquel is a very experienced consultant in startup visa. She already started some companies here in Canada. She has companies that she's co-founder in Brazil as well. And it's very nice to have you and Reza together to discuss for all our public what you can do to become a PR through the startup visa. Please welcome everybody, and we will start now. Thank you, Raquel. You can start. Thank you so much, Reza. We start our presentation, and we are our company is INGWE Canada. We have 3 offices in the world, and you have one team with 15 team members, and we have support in 7 languages. We have 5-star rating in Google's, and our boutique immigration provides a very specialized and personalized service for our clients. Our webinar today will be in English, but if you need, you can translate the questions in Portuguese for English as well. Our service is education and visas, and you have a lot of kinds of immigration instructions that you can provide. As you can see, you can help our clients that want to study, work, and invest in Canada. They can study English or colleges, then can start a business here, and you can provide education extremes like master's college, permanent residence, LMIA, provincial nominee programs, orientations, intra-company transfer, express entry, startup visa, family sponsor, and humanitarian compassion applicants. And today we will talk about startup visa, and we are very happy to help everybody in this kind. The beginning of the presentation will be Reza. Reza is the owner of INGWE Canada, and he immigrated through 4 different countries, moved to Canada twice, sponsored my his spousal to Canada, and today he will explain about immigration through startup visa. Thank you, Reza, and welcome.
Uh, Thank you, Daniela. Thank you for the introduction. Um, Welcome everybody to another webinar series in diving deep into specific immigration programs for Canada. Right now, we're going to dive deep into the startup visa program. So I'm going to cover the basics, and then Raquel will go deeper into how the incubators think and make decisions on applicants. That's quick team. That's our team picture right there with our website and our social media links. We're going to basically start with what is the SUV program and why was it created. So I'm going to first start about the history and how this program came about and why it came about. it's one of two federal business programs that actually leads directly to permanent residency. So there's not a lot of federal programs that lead direct to permanent residency. One is startup visa, the other is self-employed. All the rest of the programs are typically provincial programs that may lead to permanent residency directly. So this is quite unique characteristic for startup visa. Hold on. Waiting. Okay. The program was intended to attract foreign entrepreneurs, so innovative foreign entrepreneurs who had the potential to launch high growth startup businesses in Canada. As of 2019, there was over 190 businesses that were started under this program inside of Canada by applicants who came in through permanent residency or work permit before permanent residency. The program started in 2013 as a pilot. It continued until 2018, as of which point it converted to a permanent program under the Canadian Immigration for Innovative Entrepreneurs, basically initiative by the government. During the pilot program, the government found that there's a need for an entrepreneur immigration program, which Canadian government did not have at that point, to attract and retain entrepreneurs that could contribute to the innovation ecosystem inside of Canada. And this was their finding. So throughout that 5-year pilot program, this is what they found. The intention of the program, why it was designed, why it was implemented, was to replace the previous federal investor entrepreneur program, which sort of failed according to the government standards. Compared to the previous program, the SUV program did meet its objectives by allowing entrepreneurs, innovative entrepreneurs, to apply to come to Canada. And the main intention is to attract human capital. This is one of the most crucial parts of startup visa. It's not just all about the business. The business part, the incubators, the angel investors, the venture capitalists worry about. The government themselves are looking for human capital. Human capital basically meaning entrepreneurs, people with business ownership experience or higher education, which can really create innovative, interesting businesses in Canada. So this is an interesting table I took from the Canadian government website. During the first 3 years of its pilot program, it cost the government $1.3 million over a 2-year period to run the program, okay? And this is quite a relatively low cost program in relation to the fact that it is a business program. If you look in the first table up top, there were only 2 applicants in 2013, which is quite funny because 2 applicants is nothing. And then it just grew every year. 32, 61, 2016, there was a drop, but there was a total of 113 applicants for that 3-year pilot program. In the next table underneath, you'll see that 80% of them were actually accepted because there's an application process and then the government, the immigration department has to accept them, right? Approve their applications, and 80% were approved at that point in 2016 from 2013. During 2018, there was approximately 250 permanent residents welcome to Canada under the startup visa program. And in 2019, that more than doubled to 510 new permanent residents, which were welcome to Canada under this program. So you can see that it started with 2 applications in 2013. And I believe that there must be more than 1,000 thousands of new applications going in as of 2020. We don't have the statistics yet. And I assume that the new permanent residents, which will be welcome to the country, will be reaching to the 1,000 mark soon. Although this is not a huge number when you compare to the over 300,000 new permanent residents welcome to Canada each year under all the general immigration programs, but it is a very unique program. That's why we're doing this webinar today. So let's look at the eligibility. This is all on the IRCC website. You don't have to worry about this. We're just going to do a quick macro overview. So people who are not familiar with the program understand that the business or the startup idea has to meet 3 main criteria to be eligible under this program. It has to be innovative, It has to be scalable. Scalable meaning that it can compete globally. So it's not just something you can sell in one country or one city. And it has to have economic benefit. What does economic benefit mean in terms of the Canadian government? It's the creation of jobs inside of Canada. That is basically what economic benefit means. The applicants or the startup group as a whole have to receive a letter of support from an organization which is listed on the IRCC website, IRCC being Immigration, Refugee, Citizenship Canada, which handles the immigration side of the federal government. This letter of support can come either from an incubator, which is also a business accelerator. There's 34 of those right now listed on the website, or an angel investor, 9 of which are listed on the website, and or a venture capital, of which 21 are listed on their website. Sometimes an angel investor and venture capital can also combine and issue a letter of support. So it can be a mix and match. The majority of letters of support are actually issued by incubators and business accelerators. Venture capital is obviously rare because they're much more picky on what kind of startups they select. You can apply as one person or up to a maximum of 5 as a group. So it's a group activity. That's a very unique part of this. All other business immigration programs in Canada do not allow groups. Very rare that you see a provincial program allow you to come in as a group. Typically, I know BC had that availability, but not up to 5 people. Each member should hold attached to the shares of the company, and as a group, plus the designated organization, let's say the business accelerator or the angel investor or venture capital, have to hold a combination of more than 50% of the voting rights attached to all the shares of the company. Basically, it means you need to have control over the company. Okay, so if there's external parties or investors, they should not have more than 50% control, and it's up to a maximum of 5 people. You can apply from inside or outside of Canada as long as you have status in the country you're currently residing in. So if you're applying from inside of Canada and you don't have status, that's a problem, okay? Each member of the group, so if you're 1 person or 4 or 5, has to meet the minimum eligibility criteria themselves. So one part of the whole concept is the startup as a group, right? As a business. And then the other part is what comprises of this group? Who are the individual members? You need language proficiency. So there's no flexibility on this eligibility criteria. You need an IELTS 5.0 in each band, or with a reading of 4.0, which is a Canadian language benchmark of 5, which they mention on the website. So if you don't understand what CLB 5 means, it actually means 5 in each band in IELTS and a 4.0 in reading. In CELPIP, it's 5.0 in each band, and the equivalent in TEF or TCF French. You need minimum settlement funds. Basically, that means you go on the Canadian website, Canadian government website, there's a minimum settlement fund chart, which typically ranges from $12,700 or $900 for the first person, and then it just increases based on your family size, because your entire family can immigrate to Canada if you're the principal applicant, as long as they're dependents of the principal applicant. Dependents meaning spouse and children under the age of 22 who are not financially independent or have married. Police clearance certificate, criminality is a major issue, so you need that to clear the immigration side of this program. You need medical admissibility, so if there's a medical issue that may cost the government more than $60,000 a year in public health expenses, or there's a threat of public safety, that could also be an issue. And you have to have the intention to operate and manage the business in Canada. This is a huge part of it. Each member has to do that, has to meet this criteria. So you can't be like, oh, I've got 3 members who meet it and 1 who doesn't. It doesn't work like that. Each member has to meet this criteria. So now I've done a little quick intro on Startup Visa. I'm going to pass the virtual stage to Raquel. She's going to be telling you on how business accelerators and incubators decide on what ideas, what businesses to accept and to issue the letter of support. And then I'll be back right after her presentation. Thank you. Thanks, Raquel. You can take over now.
Thank you so much, Raza. Thank you for inviting me today. It's a pleasure to clarify some doubts and also share my personal experience. I will share my screen because I prepared a material with the 5 essential steps. Just a second. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Great.
Yes.
Okay. Daniela told a little bit about my background, but I think it's important for the audience to know more about me regarding my entrepreneur experience, because one of the most important criteria is to show our entrepreneur journey when you are applying to the startup visa. So I've been an entrepreneur for more than 20 years. I'm a co-founder of companies in Brazil and in Canada. I was accepted to accelerate 2 companies in business accelerators here. One of the companies we applied for the startup visa. I became a permanent resident through the startup visa in 2019. And since then, I've been doing a lot of innovation here, and I prepare leaders to communicate and negotiate in a different and international environment to expand their business and think globally. Because one of the actually challenges I realized with a lot of other entrepreneurs that I met here is that you have to change your mindset. So if you don't do that while you are in your home country, you must do that when you arrive. And this takes a little bit of time because you have different actually backgrounds that you have to connect. So I've been guiding and preparing entrepreneurs to apply to a accelerator organization and also to prepare their business and to connect with international environments. Currently, I advise startups in Canada, Latin America, Africa, in one of the business accelerators there, Asia and Europe, with globally, actually in Europe. I'm also a Brazil leader for Artemis Project. That's a business accelerator for women entrepreneurs. And it's really, it has been an amazing experience because we actually guide agile and innovative business with outcomes between female entrepreneurs and the mining companies. So we connect with big companies here in Canada and also in Brazil. One of the things before starting the 5 steps, the essential steps, that I think it's important for the others to understand is that Canada is a country that gives us a lot of opportunity when we are talking about business strategy to go global. Because it's not only a place that you have a lot of immigrants. Basically, we talk more than 200 languages here in Toronto. Imagine in one city, we have not only the 2 official languages, French and English, but also more than 200 different languages that we can see in the streets, in schools, and in the business environment. So when I was in an accelerator space, I could talk with Indians, people from Europe, Latin America. Well, it was really an excellent space to understand the culture of difference and how they do business and how they think and innovate in different countries. So for the ones that want to scale and go global, Canada is an excellent experience because you can also do customers interviews with other countries. They might work with you in the same space. It has also a low business cost. Canada gives a lot of opportunity and funding for innovative companies who have multicultural talents. So you have also experience from other countries in innovation for different perspectives that you can also connect with your business. It's a strong startup ecosystem. Here, the corridor between Toronto and Waterloo, we have a lot of important startups in the innovative environment is really a good opportunity to find talents, to enhance partnerships and research and innovation with university, business companies and startups. Also, the government gives a lot of opportunity for women entrepreneurs, for the companies that are led by women. I think that's a great opportunity because Canada has a good support for women leaders. And also a stable political system and a high international reputation. And if you're talking to go global, if you have a company in Canada and you say that in a different environment, it gives you a lot of reputation because it's a country that respects rules, that have good relationship with other countries. And this is really valuable if you think about an international relationship. And besides that, the quality of life, because you cannot disconnect your business reality with your family reality. When I decided to come here, I'm a single mother. I came with my daughter. She was 9 years old when I arrived. And I had to be aware about all the challenges that we would have to pass here, to adapt, to go to school, to connect with other people, to be sure that we are safe, and that education is also good for her. So for me, the quality of life and to be sure that I was in a good environment for my family is also crucial to be focused in my business. We cannot divide these perspectives. And another thing that is interesting when we are talking about scalable business is that Canada has 14 trade agreements in place. This opens opportunity for more than 1.5 billion consumers across 51 countries. And this is an interesting number because if we think about the Canadian customers, it's not a very big community, because if you compare with Brazil or if you compare with United States, for example, but if you open your mind and think that Canada has these agreements with other countries, then you have the facilities to do business with more than 1.5 billion consumers. So this is also something that you have to change your mindset. And okay, I will start in Canada, but I can go global. And there is another thing I was talking about, the additional challenges when you're talking about internationalization, because it's not only related to sales and international expansion and business strategy. We have a lot of challenges that are connected with communication etiquette when you negotiate with cultural, other cultural environments, when you have different ways to do business. For example, when you go to a meeting, how you start to create engagement and empathy with another community, if you don't know their interests, if you don't know how they communicate themselves, if you don't understand, for example, when you talk with an Indian person, if he's doing like that, is yes or is no. So you have to understand that some signs, but some body signs and some ways that you communicate in your home country will be different in another country. People from Asia, for example, like to have a specific agenda. You have to be organized for the meeting. You have to respect time and be very assertive what you are going to say, and show that you are prepared. If you say, I have an idea right now, or if you don't have a specific topic to discuss, it looks like you are disrespectful, that you are not prepared for the meeting. And that's really not good. So you have to understand that doing business with different countries, you must be prepared for the communication etiquette and all the cultural differences. And of course, when you're thinking about going abroad to work, you cannot be there worried because you're not in an official immigration situation, that you're not allowed to work there. You must be sure that your immigration status is correct and your mind can be focused only in your business. So for me, it was really essential to be sure that I would be here working in a actually status that I could be with my daughter in the school, that I could have actually my social number, that I could go to a clinic to have health assistance. This was really important for me. Otherwise, you are always with your mind full of worries and you cannot focus in your business. For that also, you must be humble, that you must respect and understand that we'll learn with different perspectives. You have to rethink sometimes your business. When we arrived here, my business from Brazil was very successful, but we have to readapt for another kind of customer. Sometimes your solution is not specifically for that fit, so you must be aware about the differences related to the customers. You have to do customers interviews to be sure that your business fits with the Canadian market. And another thing that is a very big challenge is that, for example, for me, I've been an entrepreneur for more than 20 years, so my Brazilian network is huge. I know a lot of people there, but here I was just starting everything over again. Even though I came here 3 times before I came with my family, with my daughter, my connections were much less than in Brazil. So we have to restart doing network and establishing trustable connections, so that you are someone that has a background that they can trust. Because even if you don't have an experience in Canada, of course, your experience in the other country counts, because you can show what you have been doing, that you have trustable connections, that you are a professional that has background and experience. But at the same time, you must show your value for the Canadians. So what you're going to do in this country to help and guide and show innovation. And sometimes you have to change the way you used to live, because the habits are different. Sometimes you have to go to a smaller house. You're not going to have the same comfort that you used to have. So you have to be resilient to achieve different levels of success, make mistakes, start over again, receive feedbacks that sometimes are not positive. So you have to improve the way you do things. In the beginning of my journey here, I did a lot of customers interviews. I went to say, what do you think about what I've been doing? I want your advice. I want you to clarify some doubts for me. Can you give me 15 minutes? It was very valuable, because I was humble to say, I'm not sure if I'm doing the right way. Can you guide me? Can you give me advice? And everybody was very open for that. I can say that here in Canada, the entrepreneurs and the leaders are open to give advice and help you, but you have to be ready to answer the question, what can I do for you? So that's one of the first questions that you're going to have to answer. So you have to have what you want in your mind very clear. Otherwise, you will lose that opportunity. Here, I think Reza already told, but I think one of the important information about the Startup Visa program is that Canada wants to boost the country's economy with innovative entrepreneurs. So they are looking for a company in the cutting edge state of art of technology that is changing and rethinking the way we connect with people, doing business, that we solve problems. So if you have a company, but it's a service, for example, it doesn't fit. It must be a solution that is highly scalable, that has technology, that has innovation involved. Otherwise, it's not what they are looking for, and also that can become a big company. Of course, it's a startup, but with the possibility to open to actually hire new employees, to expand not only in Canada but to go global. So the first step, I would say, it's not related to the rules of the startup visa and the requirements, but it's the planning strategy. So you have to start planning your business strategy and immigration strategy when you are in your home country. That's the first step, and that is crucial. First, changing your mindset to think global, start to build your network from your home country. I did that, but I could say that I could have done much more now that I'm here, and the pandemic actually showed us how we can connect and engage even when we are online. So I think this is an opportunity to show that you can connect and build your network even if you're not in an in-person meeting. If you have good and trustable professionals to advise you, to connect with organizations, with possible partners, this is a good way to start to connect with Canada, and also to connect and show in your LinkedIn profiles, in your social media, that you are already understanding the cultural differences and that you have already networked in Canada. That will help a lot also for your application for an accelerator, business accelerator, or also to find partners to expand your business. Another thing that is really important when we are talking about planning is that rules change all the time. If you think about the immigration process, Canada is also showing other opportunities, or changing a specific form, maybe a number in the document, small little things that I'm a specialist, a company that is doing this all the time, know very well, is working with this 24 hours a day. But for the ones that are just searching in the internet, might find documents that are not actually up to date. Or I saw a lot of situations that entrepreneurs try to do it by themselves, and they did these small mistakes that were crucial to actually to continue in the process, and this is really frustrating. It's a lot of paperwork, a lot of specific rules, even the size of the photo, little things that make a difference because it must be exactly what they are asking for. So leave paperwork and bureaucracy for the experts and focus in your international business expansion, because we cannot underestimate the things that we must accomplish. It's a lot of things. It's your family perspective, the connections you have to build, your communication material, your English skills, and well, it's a lot of things. And you have also to be prepared for unpredictable situations. I can say some of my clients that started here in the beginning of 2020, they were with an MVP solution, and then the pandemic was here, and all the plans had to be rebuilt, and they had to have money to wait the best moment to start. They had to reorganize their family actually expectations. If they had small children, everybody at home all the time, and work and be focused in your business strategy. So we have to be prepared for that. So planning is a crucial step. The second step, I would say, is specifically for the startup visa, is to have a qualifying business. Reza told about the specific requirements, but if you have to analyze if your business fits, I have some questions that are really important to analyze your business in if it has a unique proposition, and if it has an intellectual property that is related to patents and copyrights, if you are the owner of the innovation that you are applying in your business. So what are the problem that you are solving? What's the main innovation from your company? What sets you apart? What's your competitive advantage? Who are the main competitors in Canada? Do you know them? Are they offering the same things that you are offering? What makes you unique? And does your company own the intellectual property? Because it's a franchising, for example, you are not the owner, so you wouldn't be able to apply. If it's a company from Brazil and the intellectual property is not going to be in Canada, it's also a challenge. So you have to have all these questions and aware about the situation, because the unique proposition is crucial. It must be something that doesn't exist, or it solves the situation in a different way. So it might have other business that solves parts of that pain, but not the way you are doing. You are making it easier. You are able to do it in a scalable way. You expand easier. Actually, you have to solve in a different perspective, one pain in Canada for the Canadian customers. The third step is to be financially prepared, not only with proof of financial support, because you have to show in your statements more than at least 6 months before starting the process. And this is really a challenge, because you don't know when, if you don't know exactly when you're going to apply your documents. If you are, for example, accepted in a business incubator 1 month from now, and they actually issue your letter of support 4 months from now, for example, and then you have to apply your documents. If you're not prepared, financially prepared, you will have to wait until you have the 6 months with the financially prepared for your documents, and you have a period of time to apply. You cannot wait like 2 years or 3 years to apply with the letter of support. It has a deadline. So you have to think about that before starting the process. If you have the money, not only to live here in Canada for 1 year, but also to invest in your business, because you cannot use the investment money for your startup business to cover your living expenses. Otherwise, you'll not be successful here. I'm gonna hire people, I'm gonna invest in marketing or communication strategies or connections, building all my business strategy if I'm using all the money to live here. So you have to think about the financial support for the 2 aspects, not only your living expenses, that is regarding the financial support, the proof that you have to show in your documentation, but also if you can invest in your business during that period. And one thing that I would advise, I understand that we have a difference of currency. For example, the audience in Brazil, we are with 4 times more, if we are talking about reais in Canadian dollars, we have to actually add a lot of difference related to investments, but at the same time, don't save money on crucial paths to accomplish your goals. Don't save money not actually hiring professionals to guide you in the crucial steps that you need, because we cannot do everything alone by ourselves, or we can. I know people that did it by themselves, but you can reduce your learning curve a lot, and you might actually make less mistakes and enhance the possibility to be successful in your journey when you learn with people that already passed through that situation or that know a lot about that. So if you take the wrong step, sometimes you might have to spend much more money. So think about that before you start saving money in things that maybe are crucial for your journey to be here in the future. For me, in the beginning, I was the first company, my company with my co-founders, we were the first company accepted at Latam Startups Business Accelerator. The first Brazilian company and the first international company. It was the first case. So of course, for the Business Accelerator, it was also the first experience. So we had to learn together. So I did a very big immersion in the startup visa process. I had to study a lot about the requirements. I had to understand how I had to issue the documents, how I could build my professional journey profile to actually show my reputation and show for the specialists that would analyze my documentation that I am a real entrepreneur. So for me, it was very interesting because I could understand a lot about the process itself. So now I've been guiding other entrepreneurs in the same journey, not related to immigration, but how they can actually communicate better their entrepreneur's journey. But at the same time, in the first moment, I thought, no, I can do it by myself. It has a checklist in the website, the official Canadian website if it's very clear. But I was underestimating the process when I realized that I was in the business accelerator, launching my business, trying to understand the Canadian market and doing customers interviews, helping my daughter to adapt here by myself. Then I realized that if I did like a small mistake with my documents, would be terrible, because I would have to stop everything I was doing, come back to Brazil. So I said, no, I have to hire someone, a specialist, to guide me. And that was really important for me, because then all the paperwork, all the tricks that we are not used to it, with professional guidance, even if you have to invest, it's much better than doing and making mistakes that are gonna actually maybe delay a lot your planning to come to Canada. The fourth step is how you receive the letter of support from a designated organization. I would say that the most important aspect in this is that you have to be ready to apply for an incubator, because an incubator receives hundreds of applications from international entrepreneurs. Why they're going to choose your company, how you're going to show that you are the best fit to apply, because you must show not only that you have a unique proposition, but that your team is a strong team, well prepared, with actually different backgrounds that combined are essential for the business in Canada. So this is a very important step, to choose the right designated organization. and apply with the right documentation. So look very carefully all the requirements and the communication material that you're going to apply. You cannot use your, for example, in Brazil, you cannot use your traditional Brazilian presentation back to apply for a business incubator here. They are looking for a specific way to show your business. So there are some, it's not a rule, but they are expecting that you're going to use a specific structure. They are expecting that you're going to answer the questions with some specific answers regarding your business. And these are crucial to at least pass through this funnel for the interview, for the second stage. So they ask, for example, for a video, they ask for you to fill a questionnaire, to upload a presentation deck. And if it's not in the right fit, you are not passed in the first step of this funnel. And then it can be a great business. You can have a great team involved. But if you don't show that in the best way you can, you're not going to pass through the first funnel in the incubator. And then you cannot apply for the startup visa. Otherwise, you find a angel investor or the two other options that Reza told, but they actually are very careful to choose two. So the requirement also difficult. It has also a big funnel for that. So prepare the best you can the information regarding your entrepreneur journey and your communication materials for the application. Another thing that is important is to choose the best business incubator for your business or the region that you want to settle your business, because there are business incubators in British Columbia, in Ontario, in other provinces. So you have to be aware about what they are offering, how are their business leaders, if you have empathy with them, who are their mentors that are going to guide you, because this also can help you a lot to connect with investors, of mentors that could connect with partners and possible clients for your first pilots here in Canada. So choose the right business incubator and do the right application is a very important step in this journey. I've been guiding companies to prepare their business application, not only how they are going to communicate, but also to prepare for the Q&A session, for the interview, because sometimes they know all the information regarding their business, but they are not actually confident enough. And if you prepare and if you think about that before, if you prepare the most difficult questions before, then you go much more confident for an interview, because communication is not only regarding language skills, is regarding the way you communicate, how you emphasize the things you want to share with others, how you create emotional impact. Another thing that is important is related to the team. How is your team involved in your business? What is the previous experience of the co-founders? How do you know each other? If the backgrounds are different, clarify the roles that you are going to achieve in the company, because it must be complementary. And at the same time, if you're talking about co-founders and partners, you have to choose very well your business partners, because it's not only for immigration process or to be accepted in a business accelerator, it's for your business journey for actually your business strategy in general. So it must be someone that your team must be engaged and involved, emotionally involved, committed with the same goals, with the same purpose, values. If you have different cultural backgrounds, see if you can do business together. So this experience before applying and with your business is crucial. Another thing is if the startup is profitable, actually, if you can also invest here in Canada with your business from your home country, or if it's only an MVP, if you don't have clients yet, if you have savings enough to invest during at least 1 year or 2, because you don't know when you're going to find the first clients here in Canada. Another thing that is related to communication strategies is if you are creating a community engagement in Canada, and this you can do from your home country. So how you're going to engage possible customers, possible clients for your solution here in Canada. So are you going to use your social media? Are you going to use your website? Is your website already in English? Are you talking in English or French in your social media? How is your LinkedIn profile from your company and from your co-founders? Are you communicating that you want to do business in Canada already, or are you talking only for your home country clients? If you are changing your mindset to think global, you have to prepare also all your open doors, all your social network, to understand that you are already thinking in Canada, even though you are not here yet, if that's the case. And the business accelerators are looking for companies that are coachable teams. That means that it's not only your background that counts, but also if you are humble to accept advices, if you are actually aware that you might have to change some of the things of your business, you have to listen very carefully your mentor's advices. And also if your business behavior is has a good fit for the Canadian environment. So they are looking for your soft skills, how you communicate, how you are emotionally prepared, how you work with pressure, how you are resilient to actually move forward even when you receive no as an answer, or when you have challenges. And this is really important if you are willing to relocate to Canada. And also the English level business proficiency is not only for the CEO of the company, but also for all the team involved in the Canadian business accelerator. So if you are going to apply for a business accelerator, they want to be sure that all the team involved in the business strategy in Canada speak at least in an English possible to be in a meeting to understand the mentors, to actually clarify about the business. And it's curious because sometimes you think you already, okay, I've been studying English for more than 10 years, I can speak, but I can say in my personal experience, when I arrived here, my first week or in the business accelerator, we are nervous because we want to show that you are prepared, that we are prepared, that we want to have a good impact. And then sometimes the English disappears. And so you have to be prepared in advance and try to actually talk about your business with a lot of people, present your business, because then you're going to engage much better. I remember the first speech I did, the first presentation for an investor here in Canada. He told me, no, your business strategy is really good. your presentation is clear, is very well structured, but you have to show more passion. You have to engage more the audience. And I was worried about my English skill, my language skill, not my emotional impact. In Portuguese, for me, it would be much more easier because I've been talking in Portuguese for my whole life. So of course I can give more impact and communicate with the best words in the best way I can. But if it's my second language, sometimes the words doesn't, the word that exactly word that you want to pass doesn't come, or you are so worried about how you are gonna express yourself that you are not involved in the situation. And this is crucial if you want to engage with the business accelerator, how you are gonna pass this empathy if you are worried to not make mistakes in your English. So try to be prepared for the interview as best as you can to reduce the nervous situation and give you more confidence. In the last step, I already talked about the language requirements, but also I believe this in the secret of the preparation. So when I guide other entrepreneurs, I also do a Q&A session where I ask the questions that the business accelerator might do, or that are most common. Some of them are the most difficult ones for that business, and then we practice and we clarify doubts regarding these questions. And I think this is really helpful to go to the meeting without worrying so much about the language skill, but more in the content that you're gonna pass in the interview. Another things besides the 5 essential steps is that you have to build your reputation and trust in the Canadian market, and be ready to answer the questions, how can I help you and what can I do for you? I remember once that I did a connection in LinkedIn with a very important person from the Canadian government and from the investors organizations. And I was not expecting that he was going to answer me like in the same day. And he answered me and he said, okay, it was like Wednesday. And he said, okay, let's meet tomorrow. Let's meet on Friday at 3 p.m. And my God, I just had like one day to prepare myself for that interview. And I had to think a lot what I would answer about this question, what he could do for me, what was my intention with the connection. So be ready when you do any kind of connection in LinkedIn or in your network to know what you want. It seems simple, but it's not. And another thing that I would say is that there is no similar case. You are unique, so nobody else knows more about your business. So be confident about your business, but also respect that you cannot use the others' stories and situations that they pass through to use in your own business and strategy and immigration status, because you might follow wrong steps or different steps that you need. So try to focus in your own journey. Plan to come as soon as you can, because I think it's a great opportunity right now. As Reza told, I think the startup visa is increasing here in Canada, the opportunities. Also, the business accelerator are becoming each year more professional with great mentors at Latam startups. They help me a lot it was really important for the connections I built here, also to understand the Canadian market and start the business here. It was really crucial. They really help us to understand the cultural difference and be aware about the possibilities we can have for funding, investors, and mentors. But come as soon as you can, but be prepared for your journey. Don't underestimate all the things that you must accomplish. Try to find the best advisors, professionals that you can to actually achieve your goals and reduce your learning curve. I hope I helped a little bit with my journey. I am open for questions. And thank you again, Reza and Daniela, for the invitation. Reza, you are on mute.
Thank you. Thanks for reminding me, Raquel. So I'm going to continue the presentation on the same themes that Raquel had touched on. Basically, few things that I just want to recap for everybody was that step number one in what Raquel mentioned was very important, right? Networking before you come to Canada, before you start applying. INGWE works with Raquel, so basically that's a service that we can offer to help you network through the process before the intention of applying, or how to apply, where to apply. And an important point that she mentioned was rules change all the time in immigration, and that's critical. People sometimes think, oh, okay, yeah, I'll apply next year. Well, next year we don't know if this program is open, and it probably is, but there might be stricter regulations. What we've seen in the last 10, 20 years is that regulations have become more difficult. They have not become easier, especially for business immigration. A lot of permanent residency programs closed in 2019 or 18 for provincial level. So don't assume that this program is open all the time with the same criteria. Right now, I think it's probably one of the best programs out there for business immigration to Canada. So don't wait for later. Step two that she mentioned, the questions Raquel mentioned on her slide, those are questions that the incubator will ask you and will consider before admitting and accepting you into their program. So those are very important. And the team that she mentioned in her slides is the human capital that I referred to, which the Immigration Department of Canada looks at. The human capital is the team that comprises of this startup group, whether it's just yourself or 3 or 4 other members in the group. Remember that there's 2 main hurdles in this whole process. One is being accepted by the incubator or venture capital or angel investor, then being approved by the Immigration Department of Canada. So it's a 2-step process. Most immigration programs are just 1 step. Immigration Department has to accept you. But in this, there's a prerequisite of the designated organization approving you, admitting you to their program, whether it's a business accelerator or another of the 2 organizations. So that makes it a little bit more challenging than a typical business immigration program. So here's a sample letter of support. People are like, how do they look like? Well, this is how they look like. They all have standard formats. We basically had to edit out our client's information. This one was dated about a month ago. We did about 25 letters of support with my colleague Human in our office. And this is how they look. They're 2 pages. And with this document, you can apply for your permanent residency and or work permit. So this is it. This is the $1 million question everybody's asking us. Am I sharing my screen? Yeah, everybody can see my screen, right? Okay, that's good. Okay, this is the second page where the members of your team are listed, whether they're essential or not. So that's just a quick sample. What are the next steps and what is the peer review? Okay, so you have your letter of support. You've done everything that Raquel has mentioned. You have been admitted. Everything is almost done. So what do you do next? Okay, so after you you receive your letter of support with your name on it. Within that 6-month validity of that letter of support, you apply for your permanent residency, and you can also apply at the same time for your work permit to come here to start that business. The work permit is optional, so it's not mandatory. You cannot apply for a work permit if you don't apply for your permanent residency, because unlike the name, it says startup visa program. It's actually not a visa, it's actually a permanent residency. So you can apply for both at the same time or just the permanent residency, and you don't have to apply for a work permit. It's not mandatory. So right now, the application processing time could be anywhere from 12 to 24 months. On the website, it says, I think, like 30 something months, but that's because of COVID. Everything's gone a little bit crazy, but I expect that this processing time will be reduced to anywhere from 12 to 18 months at the moment, while the IRCC, which is the Immigration Department, is trying to catch up with a whole backlog of applications. During this PR process, so when the Immigration Department is looking at your file, there may be a peer review, okay? The peer review is initiated by the Immigration Department, and it's a transparent process where they send your business idea and the application to a team of experts in that industry, okay? To look at the business, to figure out whether it's viable and whether it makes sense. This step is to maintain the integrity of the program. And the reason for this is people are like, so why do they do it? Well, Immigration Department that is processing your permanent resident they're not experts in startups. They're not business experts. They don't know what the main differentiating characteristics are when they're looking at all these different startups, which one can be successful, which one isn't, which one is genuine. They don't have that expertise. So they depend on a group of expert reviewers, which can comprise of different people in the startup world. Incubators have representatives there, which can look at the application, the business idea, and the applicant's profile, and look at whether it's viable, whether that kind of company or startup can compete and be scalable in Canada and globally. So the due diligence, the data and the statistics that have been mentioned in the business plan. So those are key things that they're going to look at. So it's not all the time. It's only in cases where the Immigration Department may suspect that something's not right, or they want verification. So reconfirmation that this is a successful startup application. But the details of your name, not your name, but your date of birth, your nationality are removed. So there's no bias in terms of which nationality you're from during the peer review. And then they look at it, and then they send their recommendations to IRCC, and the officer will either request more documents or proof from the applicants, or accept the decision by the peer review and continue to process it. So that's a peer review. It doesn't happen all the time. It happens sometimes. So it's important to know, and there's information on the IRCC website about this. So what are the myths about the startup visa program? So we have 5 of those. Typical questions or misconceptions many people have about startup visa. So it has to be a brand new company or idea. No, it doesn't have to be a startup. This company could be in business for 5 years in their home country or more, but they're innovative and they want to scale. And if they're operating from Canada, they can probably grow much faster and access a bigger market share. Okay, so it doesn't have to be a startup new business. It can be a business that's been going on for a while, but they should have immense growth. So that's a typical misconception that we see for applicants under this program. It has to be 100% IT related. Innovation doesn't mean IT, okay? So if you have a business or a concept, which, I don't know, it allows hospitals to do a specific medical process in a more efficient way that will change that industry in a way, that could be it, but it doesn't have to be software. It doesn't have to be an application, right? So it can be science-based, because when you look at the major industries or the innovations that are being accepted into this program, they're agri-tech. So about farming and agriculture, food processing, fintech, financial tech. So that's more software-based. Marine tech, technology related to deep sea, oceans, coasts. Virtual reality, augmented reality. Yeah, that's more IT related. And cybersecurity. So IT is definitely there, but it's not the whole picture. It can be completely science-based. It could be somebody in a laboratory who's created something that will change the landscape for that, for various industries or a specific industry. You have to have investors in Canada or somewhere else to invest for you, or in that business when you're applying. No, you either need the money yourself as a group. So remember, investors are considered as a group. So if you're one person in the startup visa program, you have to have the money to invest, or somebody else, but you need voting, you need to have control over the company. If you don't have any investors, you have to show the liquid funds to be able to start that business, the initial startup capital. You don't need investors in Canada, right? Angel investors and venture capital, typically they have to invest. But if you are going through a business accelerator, there's no requirement to have a Canadian investor. It has to be profitable. No, it does not have to be. It's not mandatory, but obviously if you're profitable before you apply, well, you have way more options in terms of incubators. For example, there's a business accelerator incubator in Toronto, which is run by Ryerson University, and their minimum requirement is $1 million sales, right? A lot of startups don't have $1 million sales. So it's not mandatory. If you do, great. And when you come to Canada to start it, and if you do come during your work permit or just when you receive your permanent residency, it does not have to be profitable, okay? Very few businesses are profitable the first year, okay? If you do have profits, great. If not, it's not mandatory, but typically incubators like to see profits eventually on the business plan and the cash flow statement, right? It's a key part of why everybody's in the startup world, right? To make money. But the fact of having to show, it's not exactly a deal breaker. I have to enter Canada on a work permit. As soon as an incubator, angel investor, venture capital accepts me, I have my letter of support. No, you don't have to. You can wait until the permanent residency is processed and then enter Canada and start the business based on your intentions. The work permit is optional. If you do come with the work permit, you cannot slack off, which means you cannot be like, okay, well, I'm in Canada now, I'll start the business later. Well, IRCC will look at that. While they're processing your PR, they'll be like, well, you're here in a work permit for the last 6 months. What did you do? And if you say nothing, that could question your intentions to come to Canada to start the business. So be careful. It's all about the fine print. The devil is in the details, right? So what if one of your members doesn't meet the applicant eligibility criteria? So I mean, between the 1 to 5 members that are in the startup group, what if one of them doesn't meet the language proficiency, the minimum settlement funds, the medical, the criminality, or anything else? Well, if they're designated by the incubator or the other organizations that give you the letter of support as an essential member, then if one essential member is refused, the whole group is refused, no matter if they're eligible or not, okay? So that's a fact. There's no way around this. If there are non-essential members, so if you go back to this, if you remember the slides I showed, the second page includes the rest of your group members, whether they're essential or not essential under letter of support. If they're not, then if one person is refused who's a non-essential member, it does not affect the rest of the group. So the rest of the group can continue being processed and come to Canada to start their business. So this is an important point to note about essential members and non-essential members. If you're interested to learn more about the regulations on startup visa, I mean, the website is relatively vague. So search for IRPR, which is the Immigration Refugee Protection Regulations, subsection R98, or search for IRPR Startup Business Class on any major search engine. I'm not going to advertise any specific search engines. And look at section 98.0, dedicated for SUV programs. And you can read through it, and it has all the criteria there, right? And that's what officers look at. That's what they base their decisions on, the immigration side of things, when they're processing your permanent residency and or work permit. So today we have a special discount code for anybody who's interested for consultation, whether it's startup visa or not. It's a 50% off code, SUV. We're always available online. During COVID, we're doing all of our Zoom online consultations throughout the week. We have our team of experts. So take advantage of that, as usually we don't give 50% off during normal times. And here's our contact info. We do have a bi-weekly live event, so follow our social media. That's where we answer all immigration questions. So if you're not being represented, if you're doing your own application, you've got these little detailed questions, come into our social media and look for that bi-weekly event where we answer all kinds of immigration questions, free of charge, of course. So thank you. And we're going to jump to question and answer now. So Daniela.
Okay, guys, we have some questions that our attendees asking, and let's start with Fabiana Costa. Fabiana Costa is asking about what kind of companies. I know that Reza already explained, but the people sometimes doesn't understand. Some examples maybe you can provide that companies that you already support. I think it is very good for the clarification.
In my case, Dani?
Yes.
Okay. I can share, for example, one of my clients that she exposing social media, so I'm sure she will not worry that I have a confidential agreement with my clients, but I can talk about, for example, one of my clients has a platform. She has a platform that clarifies all the deadlines for permits and all the documentation regarding constructions companies, mining companies, for all the teams involved. So it's really interesting because all the paperwork regarding requirements, rules, deadlines for permits and licensing in operational areas, it is organized in a software that connects with the whole teams in a safe environment, and you can, for example, receive alerts specifically when you have to issue a different license. So it's a software, a platform that reduce your time and involvement and assure you that you're not gonna actually pass through any deadlines without any notice. It's very interesting for the Canadian market because we have a mining industry, a very strong mining industry, and also a lot of constructions. We always say that here, for example, in Toronto, we have 2 seasons of the year. One season is construction and the other one is winter. So it's a very interesting market to offer an innovative solution that allows you to have more time and commitment with your business purpose and not with paperwork. So that's one example. It's her IT, is intellectual property is hers. She's very successful already in Brazil. The company has 5 years in Brazil. She has a lot of traction there, clients, international clients. So she could show the success in another country, that it was already accepted in other country. And then she's now looking for the first pilots here in Canada. And she's building a lot of partnerships, and she was accepted in 3 business accelerators already, not only 1, but 3. So she has great mentors. So what I can say is that you have to have a good business, but also a business that fits in the Canadian market. I hope I helped her to understand better.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was good example.
Yes, now is for Reza. They are asking if it's possible to apply if you are not in Canada, and how they can start the preparation if they are outside Canada.
Yeah, I mean, you can apply from anywhere. So I'm going to try to answer 3-4 questions all at the same time, because I see a lot of people asking, can you apply if you're on a postgraduate work permit or study? Yes, you can. Okay. The point is the intention, the business concept. Is your main focus the startup visa, or is your main focus, just applying and studying? So you have to be careful about that. So you are eligible to apply if you're inside of Canada on a postgraduate work permit, or even if you're a student. So that is possible. There's no restrictions not allowing you. Going back to the question that Daniela mentioned, how do you prepare to apply from outside of Canada? Correct, Daniela? Was that?
Yes.
Yeah, so basically you have to have your business concept, your business or the concept that you're doing, and you have to connect with these organizations which are on the website. So search for Startup Visa IRCC, and you will go into a list that they have with all the incubators, venture capital, all these organizations which can accept you to issue a letter of support. If you do that on your own, you'll realize after 1 to 2 to 3 weeks that you're getting nowhere. Because like Raquel mentioned in her slides, they get hundreds of applications a week, and you're not going to get a reply. Okay, I'll be very frank with you. You can try it out. Why not? Because it's always good to learn. But then you connect with organizations or people like us and Raquel that will help you out with this. So if you have the intention, we can guide you on how to convert your intention into an actual feasible application under the startup visa program. There's a lot of ways of doing it, and the most important part is to connect with somebody who's done it before, who's here in Canada and has a good track record. And Raquel, as you saw, has come through this program herself. She's a living example of what can be done, and she's helping a lot of other groups. And we've done many letters of support, as I mentioned earlier, up to 25 that we did just last year. So the important part is who you connect with, who's going to guide you, and you can do it all from outside of Canada, no problem. But the important part is how you do it and who helps you with the application. So hopefully I've replied to 3 questions.
Yes.
Yes.
Can I compliment about the student?
Yeah.
One thing that is important, it doesn't matter if he is a student, if he is studying right now.
Yeah.
It does matter if he wants to become an entrepreneur, if it's a real business. Actually, if he is really going to be a business leader, or it's only a way to apply for an immigration status, because there are so many other options for immigration that he could apply. So it's a very specific program. Then of course we can advise about more than 50, I don't know, hundreds of possibilities of immigration. So it's not a way to immigrate. That's really important to say, because the business accelerator is gonna to realize at the same moment if it's only an excuse, like I have an idea and this is my website, and then it's not real. Not going to be accepted. It must be something that's not only an idea in the air, but it's very concrete and the background is real.
Yes, no, I agree with you, Raquel. It's good that you clarified that, because if it's like a younger student who doesn't really have business experience or entrepreneurial track record, then they're not going to be even eligible to be accepted into an incubator program, let's say, right? Typically, we'd be looking at mature students who had business experience back home and they're involved in a new startup. And while they were studying, they're also involved in a startup, and that's their true intention. So you hit it on the nail there. So it's great that you clarified that.
Yes, Sadiq has a question about, please, is there any specific scalable business interest to be more considered about this program? It has some requirement, but it's not only one. Yes, you explained.
Scalable business industry. There's no specific industry or scalability. Each incubator or angel investor venture capital has their own metrics, that has their own filters, what they're looking for. So if you go on certain incubators websites or angel investors, they have their priorities there. So if you go to the Atlantic provinces, a lot of them are dealing with agri-tech and marine tech, for example, besides the typical IT stuff as well, right? But if you go to, I don't know, Manitoba or BC, they like food processing, they like agricultural industries, so technology or innovations related to that. But there's no specific like one list that is, if you're on the list, it's great. If you're not, so we've had startup ideas that have come in and received letters of support that were creating platforms for loan processing. One was doing language. It was a solution to help disabled people who couldn't communicate properly, understand and communicate properly with that solution. So it's all over the place. It could be medical. It could be loans. It could be banks talking to each other, cyber tech, anything. So there's no specific industry. And in terms of scalability, it has to show in the business concept, the idea, the way it's being developed, that there's a potential to grow and sell this service or product to people beyond Canada, beyond North America, right? So if you have a specific solution that's only good for Toronto, I don't know, that's not scalable, right? So if you do have a very localized business, then you have to convert it to be able to scale, right? So if I saw a question down here from a member that says that their social media solution is all in Portuguese, right? So I'll let Raquel maybe even elaborate on that. Do I lose credibility for global business? Not necessarily. If you can convert that to English or other languages, Spanish, then you would be at an advantage compared to social media solutions that are just targeting English speakers, right? So you could be at an advantage if you convert it to a multilingual system. And that's one of the other startups that we were helping with a couple of years ago. And one of my close friends who applied for an incubator in Calgary, he did a solution for an online training fitness program, right? So trainers would connect with people who wanted to train, and it was outside of the gym, right? It's all remote, and this is pre-COVID. During COVID, it's boomed. But so he had a solution like that, and he's going through the program now. Now they've converted it to multilingual, right? They started in English and now they're converting. So there's a lot of things you can do. The important part is to know what the business designated organizations are looking for and what are the criteria to pass both stages, the designated organization and the immigration side. And I'll let Raquel add on to that as well. Any specific points?
Yes, related to his social media, this is a specific point. I could say that here in Canada, we use a lot LinkedIn, for example. I don't know where is he from, but for example, if he's from Brazil, in Brazil, LinkedIn is to find a job. It's completely different strategy. Here, we connect people, we engage, we talk about our expertise in LinkedIn. So we share knowledge and we share network. It's a completely different perspective. It's a business network. And for this one, for example, he should have his English business profile, and he should also connect in English and engage in English if he wants to connect in the Canadian market. Because otherwise, if he is connecting and the person looks for his profile, it's all in Portuguese, he's going to think it's not for me. So that's the first impact that you're gonna show for that person. He's not a business for me. He's not a partner for me because I don't speak Portuguese. His audience is Brazilian, or his audience is from Portugal. It's not for me. So we cannot give this first impact in his brain. Actually, he must look for your profile. Wow, I like this guy. He talks about the same issues that I like. We have connections in common, and interesting his position about this subject. So this must be his first connection with you. Not, no, it's not for me. So for me, the first approach is, if you want to connect with possible partners and clients in other country, you must have at least your website in English and Portuguese or Spanish or other language, your home country language. But you have to have the option in English, and also your social media. When you are connecting with an international audience, it must be at least in English, the international language for business. And some of my clients, they use different social media. For example, this client that I was talking about and other ones, they use like their social media from their home country that was already connected for some time, and they have their social media global for global connections for the company. But their profile, their personal profile is unique. Of course, in LinkedIn, you have the option to have your profile in multiple languages. So you can use Spanish, Portuguese, English. You can explain about yourself in different languages, but your connections and all your engagement online should be in English.
Okay, we have a question about develop apps. Is the case of the startup visa when I develop and create a new app or not?
Yeah, so I typed a response for that person. Basically, it's not the app itself, which is the innovation. It's the service or solution that it is providing that should be innovative. So application itself is, it's kind of like saying, the software that I develop, is the software itself important? No, it's what need or requirement for that industry is it basically covering? What is that innovative solution that app is providing? The app itself is just a frame, right? The picture is important, not the frame, right?
Okay. And we have a question. What are the most common communication materials required to apply for the designated accelerator? What kind of?
For me, rather, I can answer
yes.
that. What's the most common communication material is a presentation deck, where you have to explain about your business and what pain are you solving, what is your innovative solution. Then you have an instructor that you have to clarify, one video, a demo video about your business that demonstrate what you're solving. You have to apply in a specific questionnaire from the incubator. Then you have to answer that questions. Some of them ask for your business plan, some not, but most of them ask for your business plan.
We have a question about the business plan. The business plan must show the costs of the operation that you develop. Yes.
Yes, must show your costs, your projections for at least 5 years from now. If you are going to scale, what is your business model? How you're going to survive with that company? I mean, how do you charge? And so you have to show this information.
Okay. We have another question is about how we can understand. Please share more communication difference between Brazil and Canada, because when you are applying for an accelerator, you need to understand about a lot of soft communications and how you can show our company, but we need to convince the audience in the accelerator.
Well, one thing that I should advise is that go directly to the main point. Of course, you can create empathy with the other people in the meeting, but don't lose your time talking about other subjects for a long time, because they want to talk about your business. And this is something that we do a lot in Brazil. We have a very warm environment to talk about politics, economics, and things that we have been doing. Then we forget the focus in the business, in the meeting, and sometimes the meeting is going to be like 10 minutes, and you lost the whole time, and then you don't have time enough to talk about the main purpose of the meeting. So go as fast as you can for the main points that you want to clarify, and then if you have time, you can talk about other subjects.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the people is asking about the interview. The interview is to start in the accelerator or in the end to receive the letter?
You know, the first interview is the first process to be accepted in a business accelerator. So if you pass through the first funnel, when you send your application, they will ask for an interview to know you and your team involved, to see if everything that you included in your material is connected with you, is right, and if you are prepared to come for this business accelerator. So it's the first stage, is to be accepted in the first moment. Then you have, of course, you have another interview after that. If you're going to apply for the startup visa program in accelerator, so you have to do another interview with the board to see if you are ready, if you're prepared, if you follow the steps that were needed there. So there are other steps afterwards, but the first interview is to be accepted.
Oh, very good. Yes, I think we finished all the questions.
Just one question, I think something interesting for Raquel. Somebody's asking, what are the more challenging steps in being interviewed and accepted by the incubator? And what are your suggestions for better preparation for the interview? Any specific points before we wrap up, Raquel?
I think one specific point is the value proposition.
Okay, yeah.
Sometimes the company is very technical, and the explanation doesn't achieve the understanding of a person that is not specialized in that field. So to communicate in a way that you really can clarify about your business for someone that is not related to that field is really crucial. And most of the pitches I've heard, they are so complex, and you have to clarify. And my background is in journalism, so for your mother, how would you explain about your business for someone that is not specialized?
Yeah.
That they can really understand. And the other thing is, why Canada? It cannot be only because you like the country. Of course, it's important for you to feel at home here, but it must be good for your business. So you have to relate a lot of information, that you have done your homework and that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Great. Yes, it's a combination of skills, because you need to understand about your business, but you need to understand how to promote your business for some people that is not the specialist in the field. It's very challenging.
Yes, it is. That's why we have to prepare before applying. That's why we are talking about the first step, that is preparation.
Yes, it's not only show data, you need to convince and show expertise, experience.
Yes, and then
and
imagine
confidence.
if you go to an interview and you are not prepared, you lose the opportunity, because it's going to be difficult to apply again. They might not choose you in the next opportunity. So we don't lose the first one, because maybe it's the only one you have.
Yes, in your case it was 3 months, but the majority sometimes need more time.
Yes,
like
no.
1 year.
In general, the cases I've been guiding, also from family, friends that I know, and partners in the other business accelerators that I am in, it takes more than 1 year sometimes. I think my case was quite unique, but I know a lot of people that already passed through that, but with a longer period.
And one question is the last one is, what's the kind of service that the accelerator provider? You stay in touch with people, you have classes, you learn, they support, what the accelerator provides?
They don't give classes, but they have at least once a week, they have like events. They promote discussions with mentors, with advisors, possible investors. They connect you with all this technical innovation environment, and they gives you support to launch your business in Canada and find your first clients. So it's a way to connect you in a better way and engage with partners that are important for your business. That's why you have to choose the right organization, because you have to look for who are their mentors, what are the fields they are looking for, because there are specific areas that they are more specialized. You don't have a mentor that knows about every field and everything in Canada. So of course, if you look for a specific accelerator that can guide you better, it's perfect. So the organization is going to help you to find possible partnerships, and that's the way they work. Sometimes they give you a space to work, like a desk, and then you can work there and engage with other entrepreneurs. And this is really rich, because then you can also discuss about common challenges and how they are solving their own situations in business strategies. So sometimes you can do partnerships with other entrepreneurs in the same accelerator. This is good.
Okay. Yes, I think we cover all the questions. We are good. Reza, what do you
No, that was
think?
it. That was great. Thank you to everybody who joined today. Thank you, Raquel, for your insight in terms of what you've experienced and how you recommend people approach the startup visa program. Thank you, Daniela, for addressing all the questions and helping us with the webinar. If there's any questions or anybody has any specific points that they want to reach out to us, obviously our website is available, our social media, send us a message. Our entire team is always available to help out and answer questions, or even if you're intending to apply, you haven't considered it yet, you are about to apply, or you're in the process of applying, or you're in the middle of the process, right? You've already been accepted and you're worried about the immigration side, or you're way before at the steps where you haven't even applied to an incubator or one of the organizations. So thank you to everybody. It was a great webinar, and hopefully we'll see you at the next webinars.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thank you, Raquel, for staying with us. Yeah. And see you in the next webinar next week. Bye-bye.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you very much for the invitation. Thank you, Resident.
Thank you. Bye-bye.